This is Coleman Trebor, one of the strongest Jedi Masters in the whole entirety of the Grand Army of the Republic. Or at least he was. But a question that frequently keeps me up at night is what would have happened to Coleman Trebor's story if he had lived through this battle? And that's the exact question that I set out to answer today through a series of different mocks leading up to his entire life, all the way up until Order 66. I had a lot of fun making this video, so make sure that you all leave a like if you enjoy and if you want to see more content like this in the future. So without further ado, let's get right on into this video. Before we can get building, Coleman Trebor is going to need his very own clone legion, so I introduce to you the 727th Legion, or the Dino Dudes. Now, I didn't have much to work with when putting these guys together, so I just took the base of the clone trooper and put on some gray arms to match with the color of Coleman Trebor's head. I put together 2 grunts as well as 3 specialists, the first specialist being this sniper. Then we have our clone commander Vix, the second in command when coming to the Dino Dudes. And then we also have this heavy clone trooper that was used using the torso of the normal just gunner and then having the gray arms put on as well. And overall, I'm very happy with how these guys turned out. But the rest of the clone troopers remain unnamed, and that's where I'm going to need some of your guys' help down in the comments naming the rest of these clone troopers. So if you have an idea, let me know. Now that we have our clones, we can get on to our first mock. I started by grabbing out this base plate that I had already pre-made, and I think that it will do perfectly for the size for this mock. Then I quickly got to work building up the terrain for this mock. I want to focus on a bunch of different detail here, as I am going for a smaller, but I want to fill it with detail and try out a couple of different building techniques that I haven't been able to try yet, and I figured that this would be the best way to do it. I left a bunch of different gaps in the flooring to add in some different texturing, and then I did a steady increase up the land to give it a nice small varying taper kind of look when it comes to this thing. And then I added in a ton of different filler brick to fill this in so I could keep the change in heights and elevation a bit different and just make it look a bit more interesting when you're looking at this from the side. Once I did that, I added in all of our different foliage and stuff like that. As I am building a small little cutaway of Felucia here, it is going to need a bunch of different foliage and a lot of different bright colors to make this kind of rounded out and look like Felucia, as there is a ton of different plants and other creatures kind of roaming the area when it comes to that planet. Then I'm able to get our minifigures in. I put down Coleman Trebor and the Dino Dudes in a nice varying area, and then I got to work adding in all of our droids, and then the mock quickly came to an end. The Separatist forces have been spotted roaming the different forests of the planet of Felucia. Concerned by this news, the Republic sent Coleman Trebor as well as the 727th Legion to check out what was going on and figure out the reason for the droids on Felucia. The 727th had no issues dismantling all of the different droids and taking them down with little to no effort. They were able to uncover that the Separatists were trying to set up a mining facility to harvest all of the precious minerals that were found on Felucia. Due to the heroics of the 727th, they were able to take them out before this could happen. Just over a year has passed since their victory on Felucia. They've taken on many missions and overcome all of them with flying colors, granting them recognition coming to the Grand Army of the Republic as one of the most efficient and well-rounded clone forces in the entirety of the Grand Army of the Republic. As the Clone Wars coming to an end, they are sent on one last mission to take down a droid factory. Now, I'm working under a bit of a time crunch when it's coming to this mock series. As much as I'd love to stretch this out and do as much as I can, I have a ton of work that I have to get done, so I have to cut a bit of corners when it comes to this mock, using a couple of illegal building techniques to say the least, but we'll overlook it because it is my video. Once I got all of the walls set up, I got to work quickly tiling off the floor. Like I said, I kind of don't have the time to do this as accurately as I would like to, so I don't really think about where I am putting these studs and the tiles. I'm just throwing them all over to cover this up. Overall, I think regardless, it should look pretty good. I'm very happy with how the walls turned out, and as I work doing all of the different tiling just to fill up the different area, as this is just going to be a big empty room where the droid factory is going to be, it doesn't really matter. After I finish all of the tiling, I grab out some things I want to add in for details. I made a couple of these different barricades to throw around just for the droids and clones to use as cover. It's a little technique that I came up with that I'm sure other people have found as well, of just putting these little 2x2s together, and it makes a very nice textured barricade, and I think that it'll work perfectly in this. After I got all of those in, I grabbed out some different things and added them around. I have a couple of these little crates laying around, so I just threw them in the corners just to add a little bit more detail and make this look less barren and just feel a little bit more lived in. Before we can finish the mock, the Dino Dudes need a bit of an upgrade to their Phase 2 armor, as a bit of time has passed since their previous mission, and now we have all of our clones and we can start adding them in and get this mock underway. I started throwing all of our clones around as well as Coleman Trebor, and I threw in a bunch of droids that they are going to be fighting in order to fend themselves off and take down this droid base. Coleman Trebor and the 327th are met with overwhelming forces from the droid army. Any other clone legion would have fallen to the droid forces, but with their ample teamwork and trust in one another, they're able to overcome the droids, but for each clanker they take down, 2 more seem to take its place. They fight tooth and nail with the droids, taking them down one by one, slowly but surely working their way through all of the forces. They fight long and hard in a never-ending battle, but after they fight and fight and fight, they finally prevail. They've taken down all of the droids successfully, suffering no casualties at all, which goes to show why they are considered a cut above the rest of the clones. They quickly scan the rest of the area that is currently filled with many dismantled droids from their previous fight. Nonetheless, they successfully cleared the first sector and get together to reconvene after their battle. But something feels off. Commander Vix gets an incoming transmission.
The time has come. Execute Order 66.
Coleman Trebor feels the disturbance in the Force, but it's too late. Before he can react, his men, that he once considered his family, turned on him without a second thought. Commander Vix put a blaster to the back of his head. Deep down, he doesn't want to pull the trigger, but his body moves on its own. Coleman Trebor reacts, force pushing him against the wall. He hits his head and he is knocked unconscious. A green light flashes as Coleman Trebor ignites his green lightsaber. He reluctantly defends himself, taking down the 2 clones that he once held very dear to him. But he's outnumbered, outmatched. The clones advance and Coleman Trebor can do nothing to defend himself. Thoughts race through his mind. Why are they betraying him after so many years of working together, trusting one another? Shots are fired and bodies fall to the ground. Commander Vix stands up, still staggered from the blow he took to his head earlier on. However, now he was able to think clearly. He had set his blasters to stun and took down the 2 clones before they were able to take down Coleman Trebor. They're able to figure out what's going on and why Vix was able to withstand the order while the others were not able to. They carry the unconscious clones to a med bay, where with the help of a medical droid they're able to discover the existence of the inhibitor chips. They're able to remove them safely with the help of the medical assistants that they have in the droid base. However, their fight's not over just yet. They need to make it out of this droid base. They've only cleared one of the 3 sectors and the only way out is through the 2nd sector, which will be nearly impossible for them to get through now that they are missing 2 of their members. They brace themselves for battle, knowing very well that this could be their very last one. They make their way through the doors ready for battle, only to realize that all of the droids stationed in this sector have been shut down. A stroke of luck in an otherwise very unlucky day for the group. Since the droid opposition has already been dealt with, they can escape safely and live to fight another day. With nowhere else to go and on the run from the Empire, they find themselves back on Felucia. Set up a small camp where they're taking in refugees and also acting as a small rebel force. The 4 of them work hard to protect the ones that are under their care, and they also have honored their fallen brothers from the previous fights. They don't know what their next move is going to be. They don't have enough power in numbers or firepower to take on the Empire head on. Nonetheless, they have to do their best to survive as well as take revenge for their fallen brothers and all of the others lost during the events of Order 66 and the fall of the Republic, as well as the rise of the Empire. Coleman Trebor receives an encrypted transmission from someone named Fulcrum, claiming to be gathering up different insurgents of rebels to gather into one big group to take on the Empire head on. They agree to a meeting aboard their ship. However, they stay cautious because they do not know if this is a trap or not. They arrive aboard the ship and are met by another group of rebels hosting some other Jedi as well, some that Coleman Trebor has known in his time in the Order, as well as Ahsoka and Kanan Jarrus. They agree to join forces and fight the Empire side by side. They exchange their information and join forces, determined to one day take down the Empire that once took everything from them. They received information of a Sith Lord going by the name of Darth Vader. Their group of rebels have been tasked with taking him down. With the power of 4 Jedi and seasoned fighters on their sides, it should be no issue, but they never know, for the wicked Darth Lord might be able to take them out with ease. And that is going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. I had so much fun making this video, and I would love to continue the story. I'm sorry for the cliffhanger. It was just getting a little bit too long. I couldn't have this video be too long, so I'm trying something new here. But if you guys enjoyed and want to see me finish the stories, let me know down below in the comment section of this video, and leave a like on this video so I know that you guys enjoy this kind of content, and I will definitely make more in the future, because I had so much fun, not just building the MOCs, but also writing the story and, you know, coming up with all the different things. So thank you all so much for watching. If you have any ideas of other what ifs that I can do in the future, let me know down below in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe. Drew, signing out.